It can be a long time.
Bank on at
Right.
least 4 hours.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order at 6:30 on the dot. Can I please get a roll call?
Katie Knudsen,
Here.
Doug Thompson. Sorry, my glasses on, like I don't know who you are.
Doug Thompson's here.
David?
Richard Anthony.
Here.
Ted Carves is absent.
Yes.
Margot Collins.
Here.
David Gurns.
Here.
Liz Costa.
Here.
John Sherman is excused.
Yes.
Jada Roche.
Here.
All right, if everyone could rise to the Pledge of Allegiance.
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We do not, Charlene's informed me that just because we had a meeting last night, she's not had a chance to get the meeting minutes from yesterday to us today, so we don't have any minutes to approve. Before I open the public hearing, I just want to make a comment to audience members, the whole 2 of you that showed up. Thank you so much. But please hold all of your questions until the end, once I get through the whole presentation of everything, and then we'll open the floor to any questions or comments that anybody wants to make. So I am now going to open this public hearing at 6:31 and let the reading commence. We will start with the budgets, starting with executive. The executive budget 2023 town meeting approved was $263,037. 2024 approved for BugCom was $273,828. This is a difference of $10,791, which is a 4.1% increase. Town clerk. 2023 town approved was $134,122. 2024 proposed is $138,197. This is an increase of $4,075, which is a 3% variance. Elections 2023 town approved was $14,635. 2024 BugCom approved is $37,000. This is an increase of $22,365. Which is 152.8% variance. Finance, 2023 town approved is $150,495. 2024 BugCom approved is $149,610. This is a decrease of $885. Assessing, 2023 approved was $110,120. 2024 BugCom approved is $118,520. This is an increase of $8,400. Tax collector, 2023 town approved was $53,540. 2024 BugCom approved is $53,001. This is a decrease of $539. Legal, 2023 town approved is $97,500. The 2024 BugCom approved is $80,000. This is a decrease of $17,500. Human resources / personnel, 2023 town approved was $2,183,951. 2024 BugCom approved is $2,419,719. This is an increase of $235,768. Planning, you're fine. Planning. 2023 town approved, $102,696. The 2024 BugCom approved is $109,429. This is an increase of $6,733. Zoning, 2023 town approved is $5,150. The 2024 BugCom approved is $5,350. This is an increase of $200. General government buildings, 2023 town approved is $381,870. 2024 BugCom approved is $401,225. This is an increase of $19,355. Cemeteries, 2023 approved $10,500. 2024 is $10,500. This is no change. Insurances, 2023 was $182,782. 2024 is $195,577. This is an increase of $12,795. Advertising Regional Association, 2023 was $26,000. 2024 is $25,500. This is a decrease of $500. Cable, 2023 was $36,900. 2024 is $36,100. This is a decrease of $800. Conflict of interest, 2023 is $250 and 2024 is $250. This is no change. Other general government, 2023 was $325,000. 2024 is $290,000. This is a decrease of $35,000. Police, 2023 was $2,376,203. 2024 is $2,603,057. This is an increase of $226,854. Fire, 2023 approved $969,130. 2024, $1,534,503. This is an increase of $565,373. Building inspection, 2023, $139,664. 2024 is $185,850. This is an increase of $46,186. Emergency management, 2023, $32,550. 2024 is $37,225. This is an increase of $4,675. Highway, 2023 was $989,108. 2024 is $1,040,364. This is an increase of $51,256. Street lighting, 2023, $112,500. 2024 is $95,000. This is a decrease of $17,500. Solid waste collection, 2023 was $1,009,478. 2024 is $1,014,958. This is an increase of $5,480. Solid waste disposal, 2023 was $37,500. 2024 is $38,500. This is an increase of $1,000. Health, 2023 is $90,450. 2024 is $99,178. This is an increase of $8,728. Human Services, 2023 was approved for $46,884. 2024 is $46,887. This is an increase of $3. Welfare, 2023 approved was $39,666. 2024 is $38,910. This is a decrease of $756. Recreation, 2023 was approved for $194,111. 2024 is $216,190. This is an increase of $22,079. Patriotic purposes, 2023 budget was $600. 2024 is also $600. So this is a zero change. Cultural, 2023 was approved for $20,000. 2024, it's $40,000. This is an increase of $20,000. Conservation Commission, 2023 approved was $7,225. 2024 BUDCOM approval is $8,425. This is an increase of $1,200. Debt services, 2023 town was $568,198. 2024, it is $556,829. This is a decrease of $11,369. So for the total for 2023 was $10,711,815. The 2024 is $11,900,282. This is an increase of $1,188,467, which is 11.1% increase. The library, the 2023 town approved was $637,574. The 2024 is $670,525. This is an increase of $32,951. The total general fund for 2023 is $11,349,389. For 2024, it's $12,570,807. Again, this is an increase of $1,221,418. And then the water department, the 2023 town approved was $494,090. 2024 is $520,014. This is an increase of $25,924. That concludes all the budgets. We will now move on to the warrant articles. Starting on page 2 at the bottom. Operating budget, general fund. This is Article P-24-02. Shall the town vote to raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant article and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $12,570,807, with the sum of $200,000 to come from the unassigned fund balance. Should this article be defeated, the operating budget shall be $12,312,846, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the town or by law, or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13, X and XI to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. This is a majority vote required. This is recommended by the Board of Selectmen 500, sorry about that. Okay, 500, and the Budget Committee 700. Operating budget, Water Department. This is Article P-24-03. Shall the town vote to raise and appropriate as the operating budget for the Water Department, not including appropriations by special warrant article and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $520,014. Should this article be defeated, the operating budget shall be $520,014 with certain adjustments required by previous action of the town or by law, or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13, X and XI to take up the issue of revised budget only. Majority vote required. Total appropriations is $520,014. This is a withdrawal from the Water Enterprise Fund of a negative $520,014. No amount to be raised by 2024 taxation. We do not have the exact funds for the enterprise as of today. This was recommended by the Board of Selectmen 500 and the Budget Committee 600. Collective Bargaining Agreement, CBA, Police Union. This is Article P-24-04. Shall the town of Plastow vote to approve the cost items included in Collective Bargaining Agreement, CBA, reached between the town of Plastow and the Plastow Police Union, should be union, not unit, Teamsters Local 633, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at the current staffing level. Contract year, April 1st, 2024 to March 31st, 2025. This is an increase of $180,756. Contract year, April 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2026 is an increase of $179,942. April 1st, 2026 to March 31st, 2027 is an increase of $156,389. And further to raise and appropriate the sum of $135,567 for 2024. This is a majority vote required. This was recommended by the Board of Selectmen 500 and the Budget Committee 700. I do not need to read the next one because it's just talking about the special meeting. Contingency fund. Yes, need to read this one. It's the bottom of page 3. Contingency fund RSA 31:98-A. This is Article P-24-06. Shall the town vote to establish a contingency fund for the current year for unanticipated expenses that may arise, and further to raise and appropriate the sum of $80,000 to be deposited into the fund. The sum to come from the general fund unassigned fund balance. Any appropriation left in the fund at the end of the year will lapse to the general fund. Use of these funds will be pursuant of RSA 31:98-A and RSA 32:11. This is a majority vote required. It would be total appropriations of $80,000. Again, this will be a withdrawal from the general fund of $80,000, so no amount to be raised by 2024 taxation. We do not have a current unassigned fund balance as of to date. This was recommended by the Board of Selectmen 500 and the Budget Committee 600. Deposit to Highway Department Equipment Expendable Trust Fund. This is Article P-24-07. Shall the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $150,000 to be deposited into the previously established Highway Department Equipment Expendable Trust Fund? This is a majority vote required. Total appropriations is $150,000. This is recommended by the Board of Selectmen 500 and the Budget Committee 600. Deposit to Building Expendable Trust Fund. This is Article P-24-08. Shall the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $40,000 to be deposited into the previously established Building Expendable Trust Fund? This is a majority vote required. Total appropriations is $40,000. This was recommended by the Board of Selectmen 500 and the Budget Committee 600. Deposit to Library Capital Reserve Fund. This is Article P-24-09. Shall the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $55,000 to be deposited into the previously established Library Capital Reserve Fund? This is a majority vote required. Total appropriations is $55,000. This was recommended by the Board of Selectmen 500 and the Budget Committee 600. Deposit to Energy Capital Reserve Fund. This is Article P-24-10. Shall the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 to be deposited into the previously established Energy Capital Reserve Fund? Majority vote required. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen 500 and the Budget Committee 600. Deposit to Police Vehicle Capital Reserve Fund. This is Article P-24-11. Shall the town vote to raise and appropriate $100,000 to be deposited into the previously established Police Vehicle Capital Reserve Fund? Majority vote required. Total appropriations again is $100,000. This was recommended by the Board of Selectmen 500 and the Budget Committee 600. Public Safety Communication and Information Technology Capital Reserve Fund. This is Article P-24-12. Shall the town vote to establish a public safety communication and information technology capital reserve fund on the provisions of RSA 35:11 for the purposes of for the purposes of providing funding for all dispatch consoles, computer servers, radios, radio tower, transmitters, receivers, and all other hardware and software required for public safety officials to safely and successfully do their jobs, and furthermore to fund all computer hardware and software necessary to log all public safety transactions involved with any and all public safety matters, and to raise and appropriate the sum of $39,600 to be placed in the fund. This sum to come from the unassigned fund balance, further to name the Board of Selectmen as agents to expend from said fund. Again, a total appropriation is $39,600. This is to come from the general fund, so there's no amount to be raised by 2024 taxation. This was recommended by the Board of Selectmen 500 and the Budget Committee 600. Do I need to read this one doesn't have any dollar amount, the next one? Sweet. I like skipping those. Next one is going to be at the bottom of page 5. We're skipping the P-24.
Oh, yeah, you have-
Do I need to read it?
Yeah, because you voted.
Oh.
Budget committee
Oh,
voted
okay.
on it.
My bad.
Good one.
All right. Discontinue the Police Department Communication Radio Dispatching System Capital Reserve Fund. Yes. This is Article P-24-13. Shall the town vote to discontinue the following capital reserve funds? Said funds and accumulated interest to date of withdrawal are to be transferred to the municipality's general fund. Police Department Communication Radio Dispatching System Capital Reserve Fund, Police Department Management Information Computer System Capital Reserve Fund. This article shall be null and void if Article P-24-12 fails. Majority vote is required. It was recommended by the Board of Selectmen 500. All right, next one. Deposit to Fire Department Radio Capital Reserve Fund previously established. This is Article P-24-14. Shall the town vote to raise and appropriate $20,000 to be deposited into the previously established Fire Department Capital Reserve Fund? Majority vote is required. Total appropriations is $20,000. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen 500 and the Budget Committee 600. Fire Department Equipment Capital Reserve Fund. This is Article P-24-15. Shall the town vote to establish a fire department equipment capital reserve fund under the provisions of RSA 35:1 for the purpose of providing equipment to provide firefighting services, rescue services, medical services, and ambulance services, and to raise and appropriate the sum of $30,000 to be deposited into this fund. Further, to name the Board of Selectmen as agents to expend from said fund. Again, total appropriations is $30,000, recommended by the Board of Selectmen 500 and the Budget Committee 600. Deposit to Reevaluation Capital Reserve Fund. This is Article P-24-16. Shall the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $35,000 to be deposited into the previously established Reevaluation Capital Reserve Fund? Majority vote is required. This was recommended by the Board of Selectmen 500 and the Budget Committee 600. Deposit to Fire Department Apparatus Capital Reserve Fund. This is Article P-24-17. Shall the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $140,000 to be deposited into the previously established Fire Department Apparatus Capital Reserve Fund? Majority vote is required. A total appropriations is $140,000. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen 400. Did you all revote on that? Or is that the correct?
That's fine. It should be fine.
Okay, this is 500 and the Budget Committee 700. Deposit to Old Home Day Expendable Trust Fund. This is Article P-24-18. Shall the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $2,645 to be deposited into the previously established Old Home Day Expendable Trust Fund? The sum to come from the unassigned fund balance and represents donations received in 2023 with no amount to be raised from taxation. Majority vote is required. Total appropriation is $2,645. Again, will be a withdrawal from the general fund and unassigned fund balance. No amount to be raised by 2024 taxation. This was recommended by the Board of Selectmen 500 and the Budget Committee 600. And lastly, Plastow Historical Society support. This is Article P-24-19. Shall the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $8,036 to support the operation of the Historical Society? This was recommended by the Board of Selectmen, again, 500. 500, and the Budget Committee 700. And I believe, Jay, that is all I need to read, correct, sir?
Yeah, the rest of them are non-monetary
Correct.
warrant articles.
All right.
Good job.
Thanks. That was.
You want a glass of water or something?
I'm good. I'm good. That was a lot of reading, but I'm good. Thought it was going to go cross-eyed for a second. So that is the presentation. So now if anybody has any comment or questions from the public, may come forward at this time. Please state your name and your address when you do come up here, sir, please.
Ryan LeBrecq, 174 Main Street.
Would you speak into the mic, please?
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Ryan LeBrecq, 174 Main Street.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
First question, do we have an itemized budget with detail available for the public? Not just the summary level detail.
There's the draft is posted.
What level of detail
And
does it go down
after-
to? Pens,
Sorry?
pencils, copy paper, or is it like,
It's an
Department
electronic
by
copy on the town webpage.
okay, what level of detail
It's
is
line
there?
by line.
So,
Every department's, each line within each department.
so is there a further breakdown of each line?
There's a description of each line. There's a description field, a monetary amount. I'm not sure what level of detail you're looking for.
It's not as detailed as like, we need 100 paper clips. It's not that.
Right. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, all detail. Full detail.
It
The
doesn't
most
have that
detail
level.
available that anyone has. It's public information. It's a public budget. We should be able to look at
Have
everything.
that level of detail.
Somebody has that level of detail though, correct? The department
I guess you
managers?
could request it, yes,
Okay, who would I request that through?
through the town hall.
Okay. So if I send the town manager an email requesting it?
Yep.
Okay. That's the first question. Second question, how, we've got all, as is the case every year, we're bamboozling the taxpayer by saying no new taxation and instead of saying fund to be paid for by previous year's overtaxation. How much of the general fund that all this stuff is pulling from as appropriate, how much of that general fund has been applied to tax abatement in 2023, 24?
So when we set the tax rate in '23, this past fall
Okay.
or winter, we took the remaining surplus that was left over from last year, the '22 budget, and applied that to the tax rate.
How much of the general fund was applied to the tax rate that already was, we've got multi-millions sitting in a general fund. How much of the general
We have-
fund?
So
been
when you
used.
say multi-millions, how much do you think we have?
There's at least 2 to 2.5 million, something like
Okay,
that.
there's probably 1.8. We have a policy in town that we try to keep at least 7 to 9%. We're below that threshold. We applied less than $300,000. I think it was $294,000 against the tax rate, which brought it down about 20 cents, a little less than 20 cents for the town portion.
So all of this stuff that pulls from the general fund, if not on here, could be used to defray taxes as opposed to
Yeah,
funding more
there's multiple ways
future goodies.
to do things. So you could not have any warrant articles and put everything through the budget, and buy a new truck through the budget. With the warrant articles, there's a whole plan. It's called the capital improvement plan, where we're putting money aside each year so that you're not burdening the taxpayer with these large expenses like a fire engine, which costs $1 million, over $1 million.
I understand the concept. I just think it provides a target for department heads to shoot for. They see, oh, we have X amount available, so why don't I go spend it?
Well,
And
each department has their own budget.
And I mean in these unassigned on these capital reserve funds, I think we replace equipment sooner than we need to, and that's not any one department. I think that's every department.
We had gotten into the habit of trying to maintain equipment, and it ended up becoming a lot more expensive. So what we've tried to do is maintain it, find that magic or that special zone where you're not going to start spending a lot of money in maintenance and being able to replace it, or rather replacing it too soon.
But what's a lot of,
You want to take a police cruiser, for example, right?
Correct.
They're out patrolling the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, we bought a new cruiser. They already have 35,000 miles on it because of
Okay.
the amount it gets driven. So we try to
Makes
target
sense.
about 100,000 miles before we look to replace them. So we have a plan to replace, we have vehicles going back 6, 7, 8 years. So, we're looking to replace the oldest ones with 2 new ones. And so
But
on
at
and so on.
100,000 miles, if the vehicle is, for the most part, operational, running okay, maybe it needs stuff. Every vehicle does.
Yep.
Do we replace it anyway?
So this year in particular, we had 2 vehicles that were up for replacement per our schedule, and they were well over the 100,000, and they had significant issues where they didn't even pass inspection. So we had to replace them, basically. So
What was the cost to make them pass inspection?
somewhere around 6,000. That's round numbers. I can get a more detailed number from the town manager. So.
But the cost for cruiser is how much? I don't know.
So if we start
150,000,
to
100,000?
start dumping money into them, then what's going to happen, within the next year?
Well,
Are we
that's
going to
what-
end up replacing a transmission? Are we going to end up replacing an engine?
As a
So
as a taxpayer, I have to dump money into my old vehicles to keep them on the road because I have to afford to pay my taxes.
as do I.
So
As do I.
I'm not saying you don't.
So.
So we don't just automatically buy new vehicles
But
because
we're
we
not
gotta,
arbitrarily making these decisions. We put together a plan. We're putting money aside that tries to help level set the impact on the, if we put through the budget 2 vehicles, that's $120 to $130, $140,000. The price keeps going up every year. That's a big hit in the budget. So if we can set aside $70 to $100,000 a year, that we build on that so that we can replace 1 vehicle in the coming year or 2 vehicles in the coming year. There's still a little bit in that fund. We can add to that the next year, and then you replace the next vehicle.
so I see more, and I don't know how many we have, but we apparently have police pickup trucks. What's the reasoning for having a pickup truck for a police
The
department?
pickup trucks were through the outside detail fund. So we have an enterprise fund that's specifically for details.
Why do they need a pickup truck? Question.
That was a type of vehicle that was purchased at the time. It's
Is this
not, you're not arresting people, you're not putting them in the back of the cab. This is for,
Yeah, but a pickup truck probably costs twice as much as a
yeah,
car.
well, the pickup trucks were bought 6-7 years ago, so I can't speak to the reasoning behind that.
So we're not going to do that again.
I wouldn't say yes or no, but I don't see why. If they're specifically used for the outside detail fund, it's a bigger presence on the road for when people are driving by. I don't know. It's something you have to look at. But that's all done through the outside detail fund, and that's all money that's raised through details. It's not related to taxes.
Another question I had is some of these budget committees are 600, some are 700. What's the reasoning behind the one less?
Didn't have a member present.
Okay, so if a member's not present, the vote goes on anyway,
Yes,
as long as there's a
quorum.
majority or
As long as we have
quorum,
a
whatever it's called.
quorum, then we're able to conduct business.
Okay, fair enough. Question on, so we're looking to discontinue police department communication radio dispatching system capital reserve fund, replacing it with public safety communications so that we can encompass the fire department. The fire department has a radio capital reserve fund. Sounds like communication to me. Why wouldn't we be discontinuing both of those and consolidating them under communication? Why does the fire department need one specifically and then need another one to be a
For
part of?
their communication radios, yes, I hear
Well,
what
so
you're
is the
saying.
police departments.
But it would just be, right now we have a plan. So every year we're replacing 1 or 2 of those fire department radios because they cost anywhere from $7,000 to $8,000. So that was a plan that was put into place some time ago. So that it was decided to leave it as is and not include it into that communication.
Just seems inconsistent. Not saying that, it'd be the same way. The money from that one would go up to this one. That's what you're proposing for the police, right? You're discontinuing the police and whatever money's in that is going to go to the public safety one. Correct? So the same thing could happen for the fire department.
Yes.
Seems only logical, but things aren't always logical. So I see lots of unanimous voting, both on the Board of Selectmen and the Budget Committee. Can you give me examples of specific departments that we've actually pushed back and reduced cost as opposed to accepting increased costs on a regular basis? Do we have specific examples where we've dug in and said, okay, great, you want a 12% increase, but you're going to have to cut something in order to get something? Do we have any examples of that?
I think there was some discussion specifically on the police department and the uniforms. It was a line item, I think it was approximately $20,000 or so that wasn't expended. And I think there was some discussion about, why they were asking for, was it $30,000 additional?
Something in that range.
Something
yeah.
like
I think
that.
it was like
Okay, and when they hadn't expended the 20,000, all right, so, I guess that would be an example of a sort of questioning a
On
particular
the radio
line item.
tower, we had, a lengthy conversation about the radio tower repairs versus maintaining it. So the questions are asked, at various levels. I don't know of any feedbacks. I know a lot of this gets done at the Board of Selectmen level before it comes to us.
Okay, just doesn't seem like we just have unanimous across the board and we don't have anybody really, I mean, I don't know for sure. I'm not going to claim I watched and paid enough attention to the budget committee meetings previous, but I was here, I don't know, a month or so ago when the police and fire department submitted their budgets, and there were virtually zero questions for either department at that time, at that specific meeting. So of the 11% increase, what departments are more responsible for those increases?
So you should have a handout
I didn't get that one. I only got this
over
one.
there on the
No.
table.
We didn't have enough.
You didn't?
Come get one.
Chief JD, another copy?
You don't have mine. So basically here, this breaks down the line by line or the budget department to the department breakdown from last year to this year and what the increase is associated to that. So, if you look at specifically fire, right, that 58% increase is due to the fact that we're going out and we're doing our own ambulance service. Elections is up 152%. This year we have, correct me if I'm wrong, 3 or 4 elections because we have primaries and then general elections. And we also are looking to purchase voting machines once the state gives us a determination on which machine.
Which is about $12,000.
Right, that's about $12,000.
And that's mandated by the state, am I not?
Correct.
Yes,
Am I correct
our
on
hands
that?
are tied to the,
So we don't have
state's
any choice
decision.
in that issue.
So what was the reasoning for not bringing forth a warrant article to either establish or not establish an ambulance service, as opposed to putting it in the budget and not giving the town an opportunity to discuss a $565,000 increase?
So that was one of the questions I had asked when we first started this whole process. And part of the reason behind that is because their contract expires at the end, was it
February 29th.
February 29th at midnight. So for about 3 weeks, we're not going to have an ambulance service unless we have ours here. So the decision was made to put it through the budget. Now, if you put it through the warrant and everyone says no, then we don't have ambulance service in town.
Well, the warrant article would have to have an option. Clearly, Trinity is still an option at a cost,
At a cost,
understood. Not saying,
At a
I'm
similar
not saying it's a
cost.
good option.
right.
This may be the best option,
It's a
but
for-profit
did
company.
we ever get a proposal from Trinity?
Yes, all of that was posted. The fire chief has had multiple conversations about this. It's available on our webpage. All I think we had 2 or 3 different proposals from 2 or 3 different ambulance services.
And I still intend to meet with the chief to discuss a little more. I haven't had a chance to yet. But
There is
The other-
another ambulance service night coming up at the library on the 16th.
I'm around, I'll either go to that or I'll go to him directly. Are we, obviously Trinity is also supporting other towns. I think it'd be a lot more palatable if we have all this equipment. Do we have enough and this is another question for him, but has it been discussed as to whether this new ambulance service will have additional capacity to support other towns and charge other towns in
I
addition to
would
Plastown?
say that all of this has thoroughly been looked at, and this is not just something that's happened overnight. This has been something that's
I
been like,
understand, not saying.
I've listened to you, please listen to me. This has been a year and a half conversation and discussion. There's been many bids, research that's going out. I don't want anyone here to speak out of turn to give the public wrong information or to speak out or whatever, but I highly recommend that you go speak with Chief Knutson because he has all of that information. There's been 2 sessions. There's one other coming up. I highly recommend going to those and to asking him. And it's something that we can possibly answer, but for the most part, that's the individual that you really need to go talk to about that.
I don't
So
doubt that
I
he's
would
done his
say-
research. I just have an issue with increasing a budget 58, where is it here? 58% due to adding additional services without a town vote.
It was going to cost more to re-up with,
That may be the case, but the
Contract
town should
company.
still vote on it.
it's just, think of it in basic terms. Trinity is a for-profit company. The town is not in the business of being for-profit. We're here to provide
Service.
services. And when we're talking the ambulance, we're talking life-threatening situations. I know of 2 situations this year, nothing to do with this board, in my own private life, in my own street, where the ambulance came, they requested Exeter, and they were told, you're going where we're taking you, and you have no say in the matter. Really?
Again, I'm not saying that I don't support an ambulance service. I'm
think
saying
once
as a
you-
taxpayer, we could make that argument about everything. We could also be in the business of picking up trash if we wanted to. We could go buy trash trucks and we could go and
that might not be a
yes,
bad
it
idea
might,
down the
it
road.
might be cheaper to buy trash trucks and run a trash program, but it probably isn't. A lot of times it's not because of unfortunately for taxpayers, fortunately for those that work in government, they're the only ones left that have pensions, and pensions cost significant amount of money. So even departmental running costs pale in comparison to the legacy cost of pensions for whether it's the school department, the town, et cetera. So you add more and more people to a town, you're adding a bigger and bigger pension bill that's going to go for 30, 40, 50 years.
Right. So where do you find that balance of adding more services and personnel and being able to provide a service and not adding too much more additional personnel? If you look at what the amount of personnel that runs the town hall, it's a very slim group of people that runs day-to-day operations here in town. I don't know what more we can do to, try to keep that employee, that overhead, down. So, with this, the ambulance service, it's touch and go. Before it was providing a service to 6 different towns with 2 ambulances.
Understood.
Plastow is one of the busiest out of the 6 towns that have to answer calls. We've had many occasions where they haven't been able to respond, and we've had to deal with it ourselves. So it's nothing against them. It's just they might have had the 2 ambulances in 2 different towns and just couldn't get here. But there have been situations like that. So with now that no bid contract going away, which is a 0 cost contract that they just had the services here in town and they got all the revenue from all the calls that they handled. Now they're going to do that and charge the town's money.
I understand this.
So rather than
I have paid a little bit of attention. I'm not completely in the blind
rather than
about
do
that.
both of those things, we decided it would be better for us to charge a lesser amount for an ambulance ride because they charge upwards of $5,000
So on that point,
for a ride.
if we're going to do this, we should charge whatever the insurance company will pay if a person has insurance.
And
If the
again,
person
That-
doesn't have insurance, I can see charging less.
Right.
So where
But
was
we're
I
not
when-
for
I
profit.
was at Bump and Grind Auto Body once, and the owner of Bump and Grind once told me that I don't make money off of people, I make money off insurance companies. This service should do the same. There's no point in giving a break to an insurance company.
And again,
And again,
there's no
I w-
point for Trinity to
I
either.
would go to the information night. That's all covered in this whole,
I'll go directly
all this
to-
information that we've
chief.
been providing. It's all covered within these information nights and what the chief is trying to do. So,
So there's a
Hold on, just-
opportunity
hold on,
to
just-
recover some of the cost of the service.
More than some.
And hopefully it's all, and that'd be great. I've said the same thing to the rec department, and, you know, if any department head can produce a service that is a net zero cost to taxpayers in the end, or makes money for the town,
in the
that
end,
certainly makes it more palatable to everybody.
the recreation department does generate more than half of its budget in revenue. So, you know, it doesn't fully
Just
offset
saying,
it, but
I don't just question one department or another. I
No, but I'm
question
just
all
saying,
of them
there are
with the
departments
same equal questions.
that have revenue that come in to support their, in the end, it supports their budget. You know, it all comes into the general fund. So someone else had their hand up.
yeah, you've been up here for just a little, which
Well,
have all been great
just-
questions. So, yeah, Anthony, go ahead.
Just one point. When you talk about revenue being realized, and I think that's, you know, what Ryan's talking about here. Is there serious consideration about having the ambulance service or some component of it being put into an enterprise account?
So we talked about this last night. So part of the reason why we didn't, and I'll repeat what we said last night. Part of the reason why we didn't put it in the enterprise fund was because it's not fully self-supporting yet. So if you look at the first warrant article for the operating budget, there's $200,000 in there that will come from the general fund unassigned fund balance, that $1.9 million fund that we're talking about. That's the offset, the difference of the ambulance for the anticipated revenue that we're going to take in, which is we're anticipating about $400,000 in revenue a year. The whole service costs about $600,000. So we're taking money from the unassigned fund balance to close that gap, so that the revenue that we're going to pull in with that $200,000 will offset that $600,000 increase in that budget.
Understood.
And that $400,000 estimate is a conservative estimate, so it could be higher, might be lower, who knows?
So we're gonna have to have a full-time, at least one person doing billing or something, I imagine. I'll ask the chief that as well.
And
Yeah.
ask the chief that, because that's all
Talk to
part of the
chief. That's all part of the package.
presentation.
Yeah, and I'll also ask him, you know, I mean,
But we had one gentleman in the back that had
Yep.
a point. Yeah, we'll come up here so we can hear, so everybody can hear you. And then,
Thank you.
thank you so much for those questions, and I'm sure you have more.
Down here, but I just wanted to make a comment.
Can you please
Please
state your
state your
name
name
and your
and your
address?
What'd you say again? Sorry. Okay, where's your address?
And Flagstaff went out in January for 15 years.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Happy New Year.
yeah,
Yeah.
Welcome back.
welcome back.
Anyway, the ambulance, I went down to the hearing. And by the way, there were about as many people at that hearing as there are here tonight.
Yep.
At the hearing on the ambulance with the fire chief. I went down there probably with a chip on my shoulder, wondering what the hell are we doing buying an ambulance and going into the business? And when I left there, I was very convinced that it was the right thing for the town of Plastow to be doing. The chief, I am really impressed with. He's done his research on it. He's gone through it. I would just hope that down the line that we stick to that, because that to me can almost be a wash. Most people are insured for ambulance service, and they're getting a lot of money for that service. And you know, if that's what it is, and that's what the private services have been charging, I think we should too. And I think we should have a goal of making that a wash item for the town of Plastow. The other comment I'd like to just make, and I promised my wife I wouldn't make any,
She's not listening.
is on the water. I guess I'm a little confused on the water department. We've followed that through from the time they built the tank next door to me, and which is fine. But my understanding was the water was going to be a wash item also that was going to be paid for by the people using the water, not the town taxpayer. Is that still the case?
Yes,
Yes,
that's
sir.
still the case.
That is still the case.
That
So
budget is-
we can be assured that the only people that are going to pay for that are the people using the water.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Sir, you dropped your glasses. I
Yeah,
don't want you
I
to roll
saw them.
back and run them over.
Those are my dollar ones.
Okay,
My good ones are home.
okay.
But yes, it's an enterprise fund, correct?
Yeah, that's an enterprise fund, and that's only funded by the subscribers to the water system. And that includes
Well, to his-
potable water and fire suppression.
I'm not completely convinced that shouldn't be the same idea with the ambulance service down the line.
And
Down
that's
the
something,
line.
We have a tendency, and believe me, I'm as guilty as anybody from some of the involvement I've had over the years. I've been here 55 years, and you have a tendency sometimes, so you want to get a little bit more for your department, and that's fine, and that's a positive thing. But I think if we're going to have an ambulance service, the reason we need an ambulance service now, regardless of what everybody thinks of 125, it's because of 125 that we're needing additional fire protection and additional emergency medical people down there, because the state has determined that they're not going to allow additional taxes to be paid by any businesses in an individual town. If you look at Atkinson, gets the benefits of Plasto's Fire Department. Fine, so it's just the way it is. We're called to go there. If something happens at Walmart or Home Depot, we send our rescue people. And that's just the way it is. They don't have to do that over there, but they have the same benefits that we do, and it keeps their taxes lower. There's no reason why our legislature shouldn't be pushing for something, at least on the big box type stores or the national stores. I'm not talking a Westville Market or something, but some of those others should be paying additional. If you're going down, the chief told me that most of their calls are down at places like the Mullers or Market Basket. So if that's the case, there should be some way to get them. That's not for tonight, okay? But I just wanted to the only reason I made a comment, if my wife asked you, it was because of that comment there, and I think the ambulance service is something that was needed in Glasgow.
just follow up on the enterprise piece of it for the ambulance service. That's, something we're considering in the future as it becomes a more viable,
Sustainable.
sustainable, service.
Yeah, no, I think it would be fine. And okay,
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Come back on down, sir.
So I did, to address I did watch Chief Knutson propose the ambulance service within one of these meetings a couple months ago. So I do have other questions and I need to bring them to him. I understand that. But I am not blind to it. And I'm not at all saying I don't support it. I just think that anything that we're doing, we need to maximize revenue and treat it like a business instead of, with some exceptions. Understood. If someone's not insured, we can probably have some grace and not charge them the same we would charge an insurance company.
Right.
But if there's an insurance company involved,
Maximize your profit.
we should charge whatever the market bears. on the water department, so I talked with the town manager in depth last month. Asked lots of questions, got not many answers. But one thing that I thought was interesting was, because I've also been very suspect of the water department being a net zero to taxpayers, and I found where I believe the hook is. How many buildings in town are currently connected to the water system?
I don't have the exact number.
I have no idea.
So is this building connected to the water system?
This is,
Is the town garage connected to the water system?
possibly, I believe so.
Okay. So one of the questions I asked is, why did we connect buildings to the water system? Were the wells failing?
No idea, sir.
We pay a water bill.
Well,
I find that
So what I'm,
ironic.
Mr. Anthony?
what's that?
We pay a water bill.
I think the question is why people are being connected to the water. I mean, but
So
as part of a remediation initiative for NTB
Okay, yeah.
no,
contamination.
I understand all that. And again, not against the water system. I'm just, they're very suspect that it's not going to cost me money. Not being connected to it. If I connected to it, understand I got to pay fees. So what the town manager indicated was that the town is contributing to the water department in user fees, water usage. So my question is, me, 174 Main Street, my well fails. Yeah, I'll probably consider connecting to the water system. You know, I don't drink the water. I probably wouldn't drink the public water either. So that's why I'm not connecting to it. I also have a well from 1830 that seems to still be producing water. And I'm hopeful that the more people connect to the water system, the less people that are using the groundwater, maybe the groundwater table comes up and fills my well more. Who knows? But regardless of that, I'm not going to take on an extra bill if I have a producing well. So if the town hall had a producing well, why would we pay, and I don't know if we did or not, 10, 20 grand to connect the building and then water fees into the system if we had a well that was producing water? Town garage, that's a brand new well. I mean, how old's that building now? The Taj Mahal
5 years
garage?
old.
5 years old. So we have a 5-year-old drilled well. If we connected to the water system, we abandoned something that we probably spent $20,000 installing or more
So what
to
we,
exchange for an extra
so the
bill.
money that was used to hook up to the system was used through ARPA funds.
Okay.
So that wasn't raised and appropriated through taxpayers.
But now, so what is the cost of water that the town is paying into this system, into that $500,000 budget, to offset that $500,000 budget?
I don't have that answer off the top
I
of
don't
my
know.
head. Like, what do you mean? Like the
What are
water
we
bill that we
paying?
pay quarterly?
No, what are we paying in fees for water? 'Cause that's going into that,
I'd have to pull the quarterly water bill and show it.
I don't know, it could be 10,000, could be 100,000. I have no
I
idea.
don't think we use, that's an extreme amount of water. For
When
your
you had
bill to
when you
be,
had your meeting with Mr. Colby, did you ask that question? Did he say what that was?
I
He
didn't
would
get
be
a
the-
lot
he
of
would-
specifics.
yeah.
He would be the one to,
I don't get a lot of specifics.
okay, I'm just asking.
I ask specifics. I don't get a lot of good answers.
all right, well,
I got
How about
answer.
this? I'll get
We
you a water
connected the
bill.
town hall because the water, would you want to drink the water? And I said, well, I mean, I have it at my house. I shower with it every day. I brush my teeth with it.
You have to.
No, I don't drink it. I wouldn't drink the town water either. And I said, so when you connected the town hall, you got rid of water coolers, correct? You got rid of water bubblers? Probably not. There's one right there. So we're not drinking it anyway. So all I'm saying is that you have a well that's producing. Understood, you may not have paid to connect into it, but now you're paying a water bill into this system that the taxpayer didn't
So-
have before.
Okay, what's your question?
Why did we do that? I think it's subsidizing the 500,000 is what I'm saying.
No, the town, if, so the average water bill for a homeowner is gonna be about $600 a year.
Okay.
That's showering, that's, brushing your teeth, flushing the toilet,
Understand.
Washer.
washer,
Dishwasher.
dishwasher,
And house.
all of that. So if you look at what we're using it here for the town hall, it should be significantly less. So.
It's,
But no one here knows why they did it. That's unfortunately at this
Well-
forum, we don't know.
Well,
Well, specifically, the town garage, the reason why you have water there, they're only using it to wash vehicles. All right, they're not using it to drink because it's technically a brownfield and the water is contaminated. So that's, that's part of the
that's
whole
part of the reason.
remediation portion of
Right.
water coming down from
That was
Massabee.
it was part of it was an MBTE site. So that was the edifice of all this, or this whole process. This Clean Water Drinking Act through an Exxon settlement that the state of New Hampshire got. And we had MBTE affected wells, 80 to 100 wells in this town.
yeah,
And
that was a brand
the
new
money-
well. That was a conscious decision to put a building on
So-
that site and have a
Well,
well drilled that was
the
contaminated.
site we had it on had methane leaking from the landfill into the building, so they'd have an alarm that would go off, and they'd have to clear the building and open everything up. It was very unsafe, and it was a very old building. So
We
the
tore
conscious effort to
We
build.
tore
a new-
that down, right?
No, it's still standing. It's probably used as storage.
We should just tear it down. We heat it.
I don't think so.
I do not believe so.
So, but, there's rhyme or reason for all this. The water that's hooked up there is because of what Mr. Anthony had said. It's
Right, but it's a garage that no one's drinking the water anyway. It's a town hall, no one's drinking the water
okay.
because we have water coolers.
What other questions do you have, sir?
Cultural, 100% increase in budget. What is cultural and what's the $20,000 for?
That's Old Home Day, and that's for, to support the 275th anniversary of the town.
I thought Old Home Day was supported by donations, not budgets.
People can make donations to help offset the cost to it, but Old Home Day has always been budgeted.
Yes.
What was the request for Old Home
So we
Day
have a-
this year?
The actual request for Old Home Day this year was 60,000.
It got reduced to 40.
And we reduced it down to 40 in an effort to help get donations to close that gap.
Is that
What
also-
are we doing differently to spend twice the amount of money?
It's going to be, instead of it being a one-day event, it's going to be a three-day event.
Is that the intention going forward?
Just for this one time.
It's
the
the
anniversary.
275th anniversary. So maybe in the 300th anniversary,
It'll go back up
it will
again.
go back up again. Or we can set up a capital reserve and put money away now for the big party
$1,000 a year
at 300.
Okay, does that also, on cultural, does that also include Memorial Day and Veterans Day celebrations as well?
Yes.
Just to make sure that people know what it covers?
I don't have the line item, but
It's
I
the
think
patriotic purposes.
patriotic, the one
Patriotic,
above it
okay.
handles
The
that.
cultural is pretty much just the Old Home Day.
But I knew it was,
Yeah, the patriotic one is the one for like the Memorial Day.
that's
$600.
included in cultural, is it not? I
Yeah,
believe it is.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
Kind of,
I
yeah.
just,
they're both line items within that budget.
Yes.
within that budget, thank you.
So like recreation, who I've constantly suggested, we want concerts, that's fine. Charge $5 a head to go to the concert. If someone's not willing to pay $5, then the concerts are not worth having. To offset the cost or recover 100% of the cost.
So
No.
for
That
old,
hasn't been considered.
for Old Home Day though, they talked about for the dance that they're,
For the dance and dinner that they're proposing, there's going to be ticket sales for that to help
Yeah.
offset the cost of that
This year, yeah.
for this year.
this year.
Yeah.
I mean, there's kinds of things that can be done to create revenue for an event such as that. And I just don't feel like,
Well, the Old
We
Home Day
approach any
Committee
of
could
these-
use volunteers.
I'm sure they could.
If you have some ideas
I'm
and
sure they could. I spend
would
too
help
much
them
time.
out, that would be great.
Yeah.
What other questions do you have, sir?
Going up. Building inspection budget increase of 33%. What drives the $47,000 increase in building inspection to full-time / couple part-time individuals department?
So part of that was an increase for contractual increase. There's also I believe there was money in there for a part-time deputy building inspector that was added this year. And then there was also money added for a vehicle, a potential lease vehicle.
Yes.
Now,
They have a pickup truck, correct?
I don't know what they drive.
there was a pickup truck.
What happened to it?
They,
It
was-
It looked fine.
We don't,
I'm
at
asking.
this level, we don't know. We
Yeah,
could get that answer
I-
for you, but we don't
I
know.
can get you the answer, but right now, the building inspector uses a personal
Speak
vehicle.
up.
We do have a vehicle that's there. That was a repurposed police vehicle that's available to the building inspector
I
and
know what
the
happened to it.
recreation.
Charlene?
The truck went to
The farm?
maintenance.
It went to the maintenance department? Okay.
Okay.
So it was repurposed to the maintenance department.
That's the highway department?
No, building maintenance.
Building maintenance.
So we added a truck to building and maintenance, so now we need another truck for the building department.
Right now, he's using his personal vehicle.
What was the need for a truck for building maintenance? Just,
They move equipment around from the different buildings in town.
they've
I
never
don't
had
know
a
if
truck prior?
you can put a ladder on a Ford Focus and drive it to
I've put a
across
13-foot
town.
Christmas tree on a Dodge Neon, so it is possible, but
It is possible,
What other questions?
before I had pickup trucks.
but it wasn't a new pickup truck. It was just repurposed to that department, so.
Well, it's creating the need for a new vehicle at that department.
What other questions do you have?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Okay.
What's the difference between emergency management as opposed to police?
I'm having a hard
fire?
time hearing you, sir.
What's the difference between what is the emergency management department? I'm just not privy to that.
So
What is it?
emergency management handles like catastrophes. In like 2009, we had a ice storm. Were you in town then? Lost power for like 10 days. The emergency management,
No.
well, during
11.
COVID, in the ice storm of 09, the emergency management opened up operations. They helped, most towns have an emergency management department.
Okay.
So they were able to provide, equipment, PPE, types of things that are needed during, we had a microburst in town a bunch of years ago that, displaced some people. So
The
we
heat waves
activate
that we've
that.
had.
Yeah. So
They're also able to
How
go
much
after
have we
federal grants.
spent in 2023? Sounds like it's an intermittent. We don't have, do we have emergencies in 2023
there are,
that we spent money on?
well, we have a emergency management director and a deputy. So there are employees.
And
They're
there's training,
full-time?
there's training and
They're not
certification
full-time.
involved.
They're part-time stipend positions.
Chief Knutson's the emergency manager.
Typically, the police chief or a fire chief is the EMD.
So why wouldn't that just be covered under their budgets?
It's a,
Part of their,
it's,
Two different operations.
Kind of two different
you
entities.
could, but
This is the way it is here.
this is how we have it broken out.
what's in other general government?
So that's IT. I don't have the line item in front of me. like servers for the computer room downstairs. Our service contract with our technical IT provider, because we don't have in-house IT services.
Have we looked at moving that to the cloud?
That's, sorry.
built the
That's something
cloud,
we
so-
have discussed with SE, so
We gotten any proposals from Azure or cloud,
nothing yet.
AWS? I don't know if it's less expensive or not.
I work, that's what I do for a living, so eventually, I would
Do
think
IT for a living?
municipalities would
Yeah.
move
I mean,
to a cloud
businesses
service because it is significantly less.
Yeah, I'm on teams that build the buildings that are the cloud. Trying to get them to build some of the Northeast, but costs too much money up here. All right, I'm sure I will have more questions after I get an itemized budget, but those will be addressed in the deliberative, I guess.
I believe if you go on the town webpage and you go to the Board of Selectmen page, I believe the budget's posted there.
Yeah, I'll
And
start
also
there.
on the Budget Committee.
I'll start there to break this down a little bit more. And see if I want to beat my head against the wall and look at anything in better detail than that, so. Thank you.
Thank
You're welcome. Thank you for the questions. Anybody else from the public wish to make a comment or question? All right. I'm going to close this public hearing at 7:42. There's nothing for new business and old business. For the Budget Committee, there's nothing for us until deliberative session, which is,
What time do you want us here for that?
starts at 9 a.m., correct?
Starts at 9, you want us here at quarter of?
A few minutes before,
Yeah.
just to come in.
What was the question again?
She wanted to know so the deliberative session starts at 9 a.m. She wanted to know what time we needed to be here and just a couple minutes before. However early y'all want to get here. So, does anybody else have any other business that they need to discuss at this time? I have none. All right.
Just want to
Yeah, go ahead.
add, the presidential primary is January 23rd, just an opportunity to
Tell people.
Yeah.
tell people. So voting will be at the Fish and Game Club on Mayray Ave here in town.
Why are they doing it at Mary versus the highway garage this year? Is there a reason?
We made the decision to move it to the Fish and Game. So last year was our first year. So
Yeah.
instead of doing it in the highway garage, I know it
Think
depends
that-
on the weather kind of
Well,
thing.
and
so.
they had a wreck there not too long ago because of that intersection trying to come out of the highway
terrible,
garage.
yeah.
It's not the best.
Yeah, there
I think
was
an
some.
incident. Couple.
So
Yeah, but May raise.
So voting will be that day, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So
Yep.
just letting people know.
That
7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
I thought it was 7 to 8, or
it'll be posted correctly.
Yeah, didn't we change it from 7 to 8 to 7 to 7? Yeah.
Just two things I forgot to mention is that the school board's hearing is this Thursday at 7 at the PAC. And then the school board's hearing is for deliberative session will be February the 8th. And that'll also be at the PAC at 7 p.m.
And just by way of information, the itemized budget, all right, is going to be on the Budget Committee's website. And I think that's broken out to September. I think that's the most up-to-date number we have, September 2023 for the actuals.
the actual for 2023.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll send an email and get it
Final.
updated.
All right.
All right. Well,
Thank you for looking that up.
My
Thank you
staff's on
guys
it.
for being here for this budget season, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day and month. And I'll see you all for deliberative on February 9th. So this meeting is closed at 7:45, February 3rd.